was low. Bo. Dude. Okay.
You never heard your voice before?
I've never heard it that low and that close in my ear, because when I'm out there, it's more higher pitch, it sounds like, with the reverb. Anyways, what's up, guys? How you doing? It's another Mix It Up Reactions. I'm your host, Joel Hawkins. And of course, with me, as always, is my buddy H.
H. Jones, man. It's H. Jones. They know
It's
me.
H. Jones,
they know me as
baby.
H. Jones. Gotta say the Jones.
Today we're going to be doing something different. We're going to be doing some comedy. There's this video. It's the 10 best moments on Conan with Bill Burr. So we're going to check that out.
He's been on there a lot.
Huh?
He's been on there a lot. And I'm just like, wait a second.
He's been on there a heck of a lot.
Yeah. No hair. He's got a little bit of hair.
No hair. Beard with no hair. Hair with beard. There's a lot of moments here. But yeah, so we're going to go ahead and check this out. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you hit the bell notification to know when new things are coming on and whatnot. And don't forget to check out the Patreon if you want to support the channel, which would be lovely to have you. And it has some, I don't know what the tiers and stuff are. I made it a long time ago, and then we reactivated it because now we actually have people come to the channel. So I don't know, man. It's I made some cool stuff, which is cool, but I don't know. Remember, I can't get access. It's just support the channel, yo. And if you want to, you can go to mk5store.com and check out our merch and whatnot. And the Patreon, I think, is patreon.com/mk5studios. So
hopefully you'll have the links by the time the video goes up, and you can put it in the description. There you go.
In the descriptions. And
Don't
I'll
listen
have
to
little
Joel,
cards
just
up
click
here
below.
And I'll have little cards up here that you can click on to get to there and whatnot. I'm just telling you, just in case you're like, you know, what's that website he said? mk5store.com. Okay, cool. Let me click on that real quick and support this channel because they're awesome dudes. Thank you very much. So let's go ahead and watch it. Yeah.
So does your wife watch any of these games with you? Does she?
No, she has the female complex multitasking brain. That's why they can't be happy. They just always, they're like, what is that lizard that can look at two things at once? That's what they're like. So they got the shoes they want, and then they see some other woman walking in going, oh, look at this skinny bitch over here. She thinks she's cute, right? And that's what I've learned.
Oh, God.
You know what makes women happy? Nothing. Nothing makes them happy, and that is why they are slowly taking over the NFL, because it annoys them that we can just sit there with like a pizza and a drink, like, that's not holding, and just be like, and enjoy ourselves.
So you're saying that because you're happy that you think your wife and women in general want to take
They're jealous of it. They're jealous how simple the male brain is, that you can just sit there and be entertained and find true happiness. And it just bugs them, so they got to ruin it. They're slowly taking over the NFL. You know, all next month, once again, they're going to dress everybody in the NFL like newborn baby girls. For whatever reason.
What do you,
Did you forget that there's breast cancer for a year ago?
Yeah, so they did it last year, and they're going to do it again this year.
Yes. They're slowly going to take it over, and they're going to move us out. Because I'm telling you, I don't understand why they keep trying to go into a male football league. It's like, why don't you guys band together and start your own league? Get your own thing going. But I realize they don't want their own thing. They don't want their own shit. They want our shit. I don't know what it is. And I think it's because we're happy. We're just sitting there enjoying ourselves, having a good time without them. It drives them nuts. And they just got to go in there and ruin it.
So they got women's basketball.
They don't even like it. They don't even like most of them they don't even like football. Like, I don't get it. I don't get like the fascination. Like, if my wife is having like 3 of her friends over, I screw. I leave. I don't need to be there and ruin it for her. I know you guys. I'm going to change the dynamic because I'm there and you can't talk about 100% female stuff. Out of courtesy, I'm going to get out of there. I'm going to leave.
But they can't do that, you're saying?
One guy, one chauvinistic jackass up there understands what I'm saying.
He's like Edison. I don't know. He invented all this stuff to everybody. What are you talking about?
But did he? Did he sit down and like, I'm going to invent the iPhone, and just sat there soldering, possibly welding, right? Didn't he have like a crew of guys helping him out?
Sure, maybe he did.
So why, when he went to those nerd fests, didn't he have like a chorus of scientists behind him who helped him out too? He walked out like he was Tesla. Like tapping into electricity.
I'm not with you.
I think he just kind of like told people what to invent. Like he just kind of came in like, I want my whole music collection in that phone. Get on it! And then all these nameless, faceless guys made it happen.
Yeah.
And then they have the big nerd concert and he goes out there by himself. No belt, you know, sneakers on. I just didn't buy it. It's a great way to tap out from the news and just
100%.
watch a game and get away from it. Now there's like all these causes are getting like attached to it. Like I was watching the World Series, and I'm in the middle of watching the World Series, and out of nowhere they have this moment, stand up to cancer. I'm watching a ball game, and all of a sudden everybody stands up holding up a sign of somebody that they either know that's dying of cancer or died of it in the middle of the game. It's just like, what are you doing? Trying to watch a game here. You know, no, there's a time and a place. Look, I know somebody that has died of cancer. I would never go to the movies with you and in the middle of it hit pause and be like, oh, by the way, Conan, I know this guy. He died of cancer. It was horrific. I could have lifted him up off the sheet with 2 fingers. It was horrible. Hey, enjoy. Oh, by the way, I got molested when I was 9. Enjoy the rest of this. He didn't do anything to me. You know what he did for me? He raised $500 million for cancer research. That's what that lie did. Yeah, it was great. And everybody had the bands on. Remember the bands?
Sure.
Right? That blocked out the sun, right?
You know, it wasn't to block out the sun.
No risk cancer.
Yeah.
Now, the whole thing was annoying, and I hated how Oprah was interviewing him and acting like she was dumbfounded that this guy would do this. Like, she's been in show business for 35 years, and she can't, like, wrap her head around some guy doing whatever it takes to get to the next level. Didn't she, for the first 5 years, have, like, midgets who wanted to bang their mailman's boyfriend? And she didn't want to do it. She didn't want to do it, but she didn't have the power to say no, so she wrote it out. And then when she could make a good decision, she did a show. But she stood on the heads of those little people for 5 years until she got... And then
that is actually very
she's
true.
sitting there across from this guy like, so how could you... You know exactly what he's doing. It's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Look, the guy was a sociopath on a bicycle, all right? As far as I'm concerned, we got off easy.
Yeah.
If that guy was working for a corporation, he probably would have been pouring stuff in the water supply, doing God knows what. Just keep him on the bike. Just let him go up and down the hill. He's not hurting anybody.
Not hurting anybody.
He isn't. And the top 20 guys, like, all tested positive for roids. So our roided up guy beat your roided up guy. Okay? And those guys who run that filthy sport, who was sitting there going like, oh, this is ridiculous. He doesn't represent cycling. Are they going to return all the money that they made off of that guy? Huh? They're going to turn in their yachts? They're not going to. They're not going to do it.
Everyone turn in your yacht. Are you worried about him at all being in office? Do you think, does it concern you?
I don't know. I feel like the president, you only see him like once every 3 weeks. You know? It'd be like if you were dating a chick and if she was a jerk, but you only saw her once every 3 weeks. There's like no way she could break your heart, you know?
What?
No, you gotta see.
Immigration site to move to Canada crashed. Do you think people are going to really move to Canada? Do you think
I hope so. I hope so. Yeah, there's too many people here. The rent's too high and all that. Just thin it out. Give us a little negotiating thing. And then what's going to be funny up there, it's not going to be Michael Moore's Canada. What he said, oh, you keep your doors unlocked and everybody's drinking syrup and
He didn't say everyone's drinking syrup.
Talk to anybody of color that tried to make it playing hockey up there. Listen to the stories they have. You'd be like, were you in Alabama? No, it was in Manitoba. Yeah, those are still white people up there.
Yeah.
Just because they're on the other side of the invisible line doesn't mean that they're not going to act like white people.
Yeah. So you're not a big fan of Canada, is what you're saying?
No, I love Canada, but I don't go up there with like this starry look in my eye, like everyone's going to be riding around on mooses, right?
That's environmental stuff. You really are worried about it.
I am and I'm not. I just also feel like, it'd probably be a good thing if most of us died. You know what I mean? It would be. There's no there's nothing wrong with driving a gas-guzzling car. There's just too many people doing it.
Yeah.
So you got to figure out a way to like thin out the herd, and it's too late. No, these are the hard decisions that are going to have to be made.
We're here to hear about some hard choices.
Yeah. So you know how I would do it?
What?
I would randomly sink cruise ships. Yeah.
What? Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Let's hear him out. Why would you randomly sink cruise ships?
Because you get like 2,500 to 3,000 people a whack, right? And I think it's a good mix of people to get rid of, to be honest with you. They're not interested.
What happens after the second time they catch on?
No, because this is what you do. As you're sinking them, you're building an exact replica. So as you're eliminating people, you're like creating jobs. And you just, like a lazy Susan. My latest thing that's driving me nuts is I spent 20 years in the back of the plane getting treated like an animal. And I finally worked my way up to the front of the plane, Group 1, which means you get to board like it's your plane. Right?
You get to board.
Yes. You
first,
sit in a chair that's the size for a human being. There's a place for your bag.
Yep.
Right? You get a little hot towel and all that. And then the second I get that, all of a sudden now, there's like these 20 groups that are like pre-boarding now. Like half the plane qualifies, and they're getting on, and I just sit there just like losing my shit. You know? It starts off like, it's just like anybody in uniform, anybody in military. So it's like, all right. But after like the 20th guy, you just start being like, have you seen action? Right? Then it's anybody with kids, anybody with disabilities, and then just anybody with a red shirt. Hey, it's Tony Tuesday. Anybody named Anthony can get on. Dude, one time, I saw this guy get on the plane. Okay, he wasn't in uniform. He didn't have kids. He had all his limbs. He wasn't limping. He didn't have a cough. He just walked on the plane. It's like, who the is that guy? Like, how did I get on before that guy? So... No, I always hated the anxiety of being in the back of the plane. I just remember, like, the worst is whenever you would get your seat and you'd sit there and they're about ready to close the door and you'd have that empty seat next to you. Like the poor man's first class. You're like, oh, shit, I'll bring the armrest up. I can actually be great. And then all of a sudden, some fat bastard gets on the platform and you're like, no. You're like Quint at the end of Jaws, like sliding down the board. One time, I swear to God, this is all true. This dude got on. He was so fat. He was sitting next to me. I was literally next to him and behind him. He like tried to make himself smaller, and he like folded his arm, and his lat came out like a, you know those old Western saloon things? I'm just sitting behind this thing.
As a fat guy, I approve this joke.
So that motivates you to try to get to a certain
all these
place
years,
in life.
20 years, you work your way up to the front, and now still they won't let you.
Yeah, now that fat guy's considered disabled because he can't stop eating cookies. So he gets on. Look at everybody groaning. 90% of the world is starving to death. That guy. Eat salad and get on the treadmill like the rest of us.
Yeah, that's kind of hard to
flipping
argue
out the
that
day
point.
like when you met? Did you flip out? Did you really that early?
Yeah, I remember. She told me to go see that movie Monster. Remember that movie with Charlize Theron?
Yeah.
Remember that? Yeah. And everybody was saying how, oh my God, it was unbelievable. Like they literally blamed guys that she was a serial killer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when you saw the Jeffrey Dahmer movie, it wasn't like, somebody shoved a tuna fish sandwich up my ass and I confused people with food. So they didn't make like a big excuse for him. You know? She was a psycho killing people and she should have died. But I'm like watching it feeling guilt. Do they ever take responsibility for their actions? Even when they're murdering people, it's somehow our fault. It's unreal.
Why would having a tuna fish sandwich shoved up your butt make you want to eat people?
Because another man did it. Right? So it's another person. So you equated, I don't know, sex with food? I forget how the idea went. But all I know is she laughed when I said it. She was dying laughing and kind of saw my point. And I always hate when she says to me, she'll just be like, I just don't see where is that coming from? Where is that coming from? It's just like, honey, how many childhood stories do I have to tell you before you follow the breadcrumbs to the psycho that you married? I mean, did you ever take a psychology class? Like, you didn't see this coming?
Right.
That's what it is. It's not that she says that I'm a jerk. It's just the nerve to be surprised. It's like about annoying people. Like when people tweet, it's very easy to piss off one side. The art is you got to try to get everybody. So you tweet stuff like, Trump is such a dope, he's actually going to make me vote for a woman. Right? And then you just sit back. Intentionally. And you just watch him. You're like, that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted.
You're mad that children are not being hit.
There should be the threat of it. Half of it was just it was just your dad was acting like he was going to do it. He never did it, but your mother did. And because she was a woman, it was like, okay. Because it was like, hey, you let a girl beat you up, you kind of felt emasculated.
Yeah.
We had a rule, a lot of the stuff that I look at from when I was a kid that actually kind of made sense in a way would now be considered like abuse, I guess. Like when I was a kid, if you didn't finish your supper, as we called it.
Supper, yeah.
Yeah, my mother was just like, well, you're going to finish, she would just wrap it in cellophane and you just picked up where you left off for breakfast. Like a blue-collar job. Like you take the shovel out of the hole and just start digging it again. So, yeah, I remember one night we had cube steaks, which is like one of the toughest pieces of meat. I don't know if you guys, everything's so like Asian-infused Wagyu beef. Everybody's eating that crap now, but cube steak was like, they literally had to hit it with a hammer to make it like edible. And so we were having cube steaks, and I forget, my little brother was still in a high chair, and he couldn't finish his. So my mother goes, all right, well, you're just gonna have to eat it for breakfast. And that was like 8 hours away, which was like half his life. So we was like, all right, I'll take that deal. So the next morning, I remember we were having waffles. My mother always made Sunday breakfast. So we had all these waffles, eggs, bacon, this whole layout. My brother was looking at half-eaten cube steaks and a little mound of green bean casserole. And he goes, so he looked at my mom, he goes, Mom, can I have a waffle? And she goes, no, you gotta finish your supper. He's like, well, after I finish my supper, then can I have a waffle? She goes, no, that is your breakfast. And he goes, oh, Mom, I hate you. And my dad, without looking up, took a full glass of milk and threw it in his face. Swear to God. This is what kills me. What kills me.
You want everyone today to have as miserable as...
No, but it was kind of funny. We know what's hilarious was my mother just popped up and just immediately started cleaning up, and my dad just kept eating. Like he didn't like the roles were defined back then. Now the guy has to throw the milk, he has to clean it up while telling his wife she's brave for just sitting there. Like whatever that is. Can you hear it?
God.
Oh, I know. Women are so overrated, right? We went from We went from not listening to them to now it's ridiculous. Like that believe women. It's like all of them. How about 85%? I'll give you 87%, all right? But that last 13% that keys your car, lights your shit on fire, and puts a family pet in a pot of stew.
Who put a pet in a pot of stew?
Glenn Close.
Oh,
Glenn Close, yeah.
Like, nope, there was one.
Dude, that's... Okay, that dude has the ability to just... Because that was like 16 minutes, but it felt more like 5.
Mm-hmm.
He has the ability of walking that fine line between like, someone's going to kill me. Someone's going to be super offensive, try and cancel me. I think he's like Dave Chappelle. He can dodge lasers. I think that's what it is. And I think honestly, it's a skill that's going to be it's a skill that's going to disappear. I don't think we're going to have it for much longer. Because the minute the old guard dies, which is going to be Dave Chappelle and him and Tom Segura and Ari Shaffir and Bert Kreischer, and like when they all go, the next generation of comics have already lost too much.
Yeah.
They've already lost way too much. They've let go a lot of stuff. I mean, when Daniel Tosh goes, and I mean, it's just going to be people are they're gonna walk on too many eggshells, and you're not gonna have things be as funny.
Yeah,
I mean, dude, watching Richard Pryor back in the day, that dude was ruthless. And then you watch George Carlin, he came at it from like an intellectual part of it. And then I didn't even realize this. This is how crazy it was. So I knew he was a comic, right? But I thought he was like a goofy Danny from Full House type comic because he was on Thomas the Tank Engine or whatever.
Yeah.
He was a conductor. And I was like, that's a really nice guy, is that he can do comedy for that long. Technically would be considered a dirty comic, which I like to think of them as normal comics and all the clean comics to be clean comics.
Yeah.
I don't like dirty comic. No, he's a normal comic because that's what they should have been from the get-go. Where Lenny Bruce was like one of the first, but still. Like watching that, like just George Carlin just doing his thing, all the 7 bad words, all that stuff, right? And then him talking about what's going to happen in the future, which, by the way, everything he talked about is starting to happen now over the past 10 years and he's been dead since then. So I'm actually kind of impressed, and I kind of knew he was probably that type of guy who could guess the future, how the way it's going. Because PC started like, 10, 12 years ago, PC type stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Was it longer? Yeah, maybe, because I was in Huntsville in 2004.
I don't remember that being out when I was in high school.
In PC?
Maybe.
Being PC? Come on now. Were people just walking around saying the N-word all the time? Really? You have to think about that? Were you in high school just getting yelled at that way?
No, not in high school.
Because PC was happening when I was in high school. And that's 4 years before you.
It's like 2.
You're 4 years younger than me.
How old are you?
What?
How old are you? 41?
Yeah.
You are?
Yeah. We already went over this.
I thought you were 2 years older.
Ago.
I literally thought you were 2 years older than me.
No, 4 years older than you.
Huh.
Whole high school education older than you.
Huh.
But they had PC then. We also had Dare and all that crap too. Yeah, it's just, I don't know, man. I mean, he's able to walk that line, where it's like almost like borderline misogynistic, but he loves his wife to death. That's the fun part. Like, he loves his wife to death. He loves everything about her. He just likes to be kind of honest and point some things out that are like most people don't want to say because they're afraid of getting knocked in the teeth, And he's like, hey, it's okay. I'm just being honest. I'm just saying what I feel. I'm not being mean or overtly cruel. I'm posing some questions. What do you think about it?
I think that one was a better one of Bill Burr. Bill Burr for me he's not like my top 5, but maybe in the top 10, I guess.
Like, what'd you not like about him in the last one? You said you liked that one.
I'd have to remember.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So have you seen something that you didn't like that he did?
Yeah, and it may
or that
be,
you were just bored.
It may have been the time. Because, sometimes the time of day is
you
like... You
watch something and you're like, I'm not really into watching this right now, but I'm just watching it because...
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done that a lot.
Hell, I put a movie on Netflix the other day. I was like, I really want to watch this. I turned it on and I literally grabbed my phone.
That is the worst feeling. Because
I stopped it like 10 minutes and I was like, wait.
Why did I even start watching this? Yeah. Well, I did that for Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one, whenever it first came out. Like I started playing it and I started watching it. I was kind of a little drunk. Like, I came home from the bar and I rented it online. And I'm like, kind of partially halfway asleep through it. And I watched it and I finished it and I was like, I don't really like that movie. It was kind of boring. And I was like, went to sleep and a week went by and I'm like, hey, give it another shot. And then I watched it again. Went, this movie's awesome. Like, I was just so, at the time, I just wasn't interested in it. Which you got to think how many people in the world have seen a movie. Like, maybe there's just a moment where everyone in the world is more conscious and awake than they ever have been. And those are the moments where movies make billions of dollars. Like, is that what it is? Or is it that, because you got to think of it, if someone watches that movie and goes, yeah, it's okay, that's going to make the person want, like, I really don't want to watch it. Usually he's enthused about stuff, you know?
Yeah.
So maybe the billions of dollars that some movies make is not just about how good they are, but how people react to them to other people, you know? Because critics suck. I don't know why we even care about that.
There's plenty of movies that were like in the 40s and 50s. I was like, that was a great movie.
Yeah.
I bought it.
Yeah.
It's a great movie.
Yeah. Like, especially Rotten Tomatoes. Like Rotten Tomatoes is somewhat okay. It's not completely bogus and bullshit. But like, there were many times back in the day when it first, like the critics were like Siskel and Ebert.
Yeah.
And
give it 2 thumbs up.
Yeah, I would watch it and I'd be like, well, they're idiots. They don't understand what the movie's about. And then they'd watch something else and I'm like, well, that's a dumb movie. And I'm like, what is the point of critics? So what you're doing is you're just as a human being, you have to find a critic who's like you in personality and style and taste.
Yeah.
And then whatever they recommend you watch, whatever they don't, you don't. Like that's what it is essentially. You're basically paying attention to the representative that's been voted in on that Congress of deciding what movies are good and not.
Yeah.
That's just what it is. So for me, it's like, okay, this is weird. Because I feel like sometimes critics are just dicks because they want to be dicks, or they're being dicks because other critics have been dicks first and they're more popular. So they're trying to add on to it. And that kind of stuff does not dictate good movies. Because a bunch of people were like, Squid Game sucked. And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about, dum-dum. And like, oh, this is just a horrible thing. And like, it got denied so much before it ever got made that when it finally did come out and someone published it and put it out, I bet you every single person that denied them to get published went, so we're idiots. Like, because it's just, people are so afraid to do something new. They're afraid to take a chance or a risk. And half the time that new thing is actually pretty dope.
That was, Natalie showed me this video, I think it was yesterday, the guy that invented the Ring camera.
Yeah.
Like he went on Shark Tank and all of them was like, no, this is stupid. This is dumb. And then he went and found $1 billion investor. And, you know, Ring is everywhere now.
Well, he sold it to Amazon.
Yeah.
Or Amazon or Google.
I think it's Amazon.
It's Amazon. Yeah, I think he sold it to Amazon. But yeah, whenever the Ring first came out, I was like, that's actually a fairly genius thing. Because I would love to be sitting on my couch and look and see, oh, I'm not answering that. Because half the time it's somebody who's just like, tell you about your Lord Jesus Christ and Savior. I'm like, my parents were Christians. I was raised Baptist. Oh, okay, well, you have a nice day. That'd be great to be able to do that. Okay. So don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you hit the bell notification and when new things are coming out, and check out the links, the little pop-ups that happen here. Little cards. They're called cards.
Oh,
but
get technical on them.
And check out Barcode Original Hoodie. That's see the little thing slides in. Pretty. Very nice. Use the promo code VIBE20. Vibe. VIBE 20. Use promo code VIBE20 at MK5store.com. And that's not MK the number 5. No. The number 5, the actual number, store.com. I have had people do that before, so I'm not tripping. I mean, heck fire. My original business name is Mark 5 Studios, and people are like, hey, Mark, how you doing? My name's not Mark. It's the name of my company, not me. Okay. My name's Timmy. Tim. But yeah.
First name Tim, last name Tim.
Exactly. So, and then Tim Tam. Also check out Patreon. I'm pretty sure it's like patreon.com/MK5 Studios, number 5. MK5 Studios. I don't know. Do what you got to do. Support the channel. Don't. I don't care. I do care. I do care. I want this to be my job. I want this to be my job. So help me make this my job. Or not. Whichever. It's all good. I'll let fate decide. Oh, fate be nice.